Hi, everybody. I am Kevin Iole. Thank you for joining me. My guest right now, one of the best in the world in a stacked lightweight division. It's always stacked. I think ever since the lightweight division went into the UFC, that's where all the killers were. Dustin Poirier joins me right now. He is going to fight Islam Makhachev for the UFC lightweight championship main event of UFC 302. Dustin, welcome. Before I get into the fight and everything, I want to ask you this. You've been on this roller coaster, and I guess when you're fighting all the top guys, this is what happens. Win one, lose one, win one, lose one. How do you deal with that? Because it's like you can't plan. You never know what's coming next, right? What is that roller coaster like for you?
It's crazy, man. It's fun. It's an experience. The whole fight journey that I've had my career has been an experience, man. But because, like no matter how prepared you are, how hard you work, how good you are, I feel like I could beat anybody in the world, but when I get in there, it's a roll of the dice every time. Anything could happen in there, and what a rush.
In your last, let's say 6 fights here, Conor McGregor twice, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, Benoit St. Denis. When you hear that list of names, does it sometimes even make you shudder what you've done here recently?
No, because you could go further than that, and it's still stacked with crazy names. I fought the best of my generation for sure. At 155 pounds, I fought the best guys in the world who were fighting at the time I was.
So obviously the one thing that you haven't done in your career is have that gold strapped around your waist. And I would say kind of unexpectedly.
Undisputed. I didn't have the undisputed belt strapped.
Yeah, the undisputed championship. Exactly. Yeah, you had the interim championship. So to have that undisputed championship around your waist, unexpectedly getting the shot at this fight, I would say your win over Benoit St. Denis was such a fantastic performance. When you got the call and they said, hey, we want you to fight Islam, what were your emotions like? I know it's always good when you get a title fight, but was that extra special?
It was special, but I was just coming out. I was a few weeks out of fight and fight camp. So to jump right back in fight camp, but was like, it's a lot. I was actually at a viewing party in Connecticut for UFC 300. Me and my wife were up at a viewing party at a sports book in the Mohegan Sun. Got the call from the UFC. I mean, the main event hadn't even happened yet, I don't think, and I was on the phone with them. So I packed my bags that night, flew home the next morning, packed up again, flew to training camp right away. I didn't have time to waste.
That is crazy. That is so wild. Was there ever any thought, like, the UFC, I know Dana's always one, hey, if there's opportunity there, jump on it, take it, don't wait. But did you ever have any thought, like, maybe I just got out of a camp, I'm now a middle-aged fighter, right? Maybe this isn't the time?
No, never.
Just always going.
Yeah, so wow, what a great opportunity. Let's go.
Makhachev gets compared a lot to Khabib, and Ali Abdelaziz, his manager, says he's better than Khabib. He said a lot of crazy things over the years, right? But how do you fought Khabib? What you see on paper from Islam, how does it compare to Khabib? Is he close in any way?
Top position. Some of the things they do are similar, but definitely a different fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Great clinch, good trips. I think a little bit more of a fluid striker than Khabib for sure. Chases submissions a bit more than Khabib does, especially with arm bars and stuff. We never see Khabib giving up position to go for an arm bar or something like that. There are some similarities, but he does a few things better than Khabib, and Khabib does a few things better than him, I think.
Where do you think your advantage is over him? Is it just the fact that you've seen Khabib and Conor and and all the greats of this era? Is the experience you have the edge, or what is your edge in the fight?
That I'm willing to put myself in harm's way to stop this guy. That I'm willing to stand in front of him and risk being taken down to land a big shot. But yeah, I think my rhythm, my timing, my footwork, if everything's moving on time and moving the way I know I can, I'll give him a lot of problems out there.
Right. And you say put yourself in harm's way. I mean, obviously, that's how you fight. That's how most of the elite UFC fighters fight, right? They're getting in there and they're putting themselves at risk. But I wonder, like, do you have to be a little bit extra cautious against him, in terms of jumping in there because he has that great wrestling? If he gets you down, like, it's a difficult thing to be able to get back up.
For sure. For sure I do, but I have to take calculated risks. You know, there at some point I'm going to have to put myself in front of him to land the shot. You know, that's just the way fight goes.
Sure. Since he won the championship, you know, this may not be the fairest thing, but, you know, he's fought two defenses against featherweights, and, you know, Charles had been, you know, I guess you were too, but, you know, but Charles was a featherweight. So, I mean, I just look at it like, you know, do you feel like you're going to be his first big test now? Because now you're a lightweight, you've been a lightweight for a long time, big, strong fighter. Like, do you feel like that changes anything, your physical stature and dimensions relative to Volk or Charles?
It could. We'll see when we get in there. You know, Volk's shorter, but very powerful and compact, and a tough style to deal with. When you're a wrestler trying to hold someone down and submit somebody with shorter limbs and shorter legs, they're easier to get to their knees and feet, you know, to fight takedowns. There's not as much legs to shelve and get wrapped up. So that's brings its own challenges in itself. And Charles, you know, was undisputed defending world champion. So that's a serious win.
Yeah, that was no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I'm thinking Volkanovski is the best fighter in the world, and Charles might have been number 2, right? You know, so right. I didn't mean to diss him, but you still look at there's the 145 factor there, right? That was the thing. By the way, speaking of that, you know, Max Holloway, what was your take on that performance with Gaethje? You had fought Gaethje not long ago. What was your take on that fight, and also what was your take on get to the center of the ring? Like, that was fucking nuts.
Yeah, that was nuts when you're winning the fight. You don't need to take that risk, but that just shows you he was the right opponent to fight for the BMF title, because that's what BMFs do, you know. I thought Max had the skills to win the fight. I didn't think he was going to stop Justin like that. I thought if it went past 3, Max would pull away in the later 3rd, 4th, and 5th round with volume, combinations, footwork. I didn't think Justin would be fluid enough to keep up with that pace and that rhythm of Max's technical striking, kicking, kneeing. But to knock Justin out that way was, I mean, I was in awe just like every other fan out there.
Yeah. You know, do you feel like, and I'm not trying to get you to knock another fighter, but when I ask this question, I think you understand I'm not. Everybody has so many punches they can take, right, in a career, right, and then that's it. Do you feel like sometimes the style some of you guys fight, and certainly Justin is known for that, you know, he's known as the highlight, and these crazy risks that he takes and these crazy high event, you know, fights that he has. Do you think that sometimes that catches up to guys and maybe, you know, their careers are shorter than otherwise they could have been?
Yeah, for sure. You know, when you have those kind of fights, I'm the same way. You know, I've been in so many dog fights because that's the way I fight, and that's the way I enjoy that part of fighting. Right. But yeah, those aren't highway miles we're putting on this car.
Yeah, there's no doubt. When you're in those kind of fights, like, I mean, are you feeling the energy from the crowd? Because like the place goes nuts. Like, you know, when, you know, you feel that energy when you get in the cage, right? Because you've had the reputation. People know when Poirier fights, Gaethje fights, Holloway fights, it's going to be an event, right? So you show up in the arena, they're going nuts, but they settle down until action happens. Can you feel that? And does that motivate you as the event is going on?
I feel it during the walkout, post-fight, you know, you hear it and feel it, but during the actual combat, I don't notice them at all, really.
Interesting. Ask you about the BSD fight. I mean, that was such an unbelievable knockout by you, and he had been on such a roll, and yet, I mean, you further enhanced your reputation in that as the Guillotine King, right? You know, with all the attempts for the guillotine, but to score that kind of knockout that you did, looking back on that, like, did you even surprise yourself? Like, not that people doubted you would beat him, but to viciously put him out the way you did. Did that surprise you even?
No, because I feel like I can do that to anyone, you know? I feel like I can do that to anyone. Incredible.
When you landed it, like, is it kind of like sometimes you hear a golfer say, I knew I hit that on the sweet spot, right? Did you know when that connects, can you feel that in your body without seeing him fall? Do you feel it?
When the hook landed that dropped him, I knew he was out of position. He wasn't in position to receive a shot like that. I knew it was going to whip his head around, but when I saw his body fall and I followed up with that second punch, I mean, I knew that was the nail in the casket, bro.
Yeah, that was crazy. Let's wrap with this then. You know, What do you think you've learned in championship fights before that you'll bring to this fight that'll make you, get you to that last step, right? Obviously, you beat Holloway to win the interim championship before, but what do you think it's going to take, and what experience do you have now that you feel like you've added to your arsenal that can help you get over the hump in this one?
Just treating it like another fight, not putting the glitz and glamour of it. Like, this is my last title shot. I have to get it done this time. I just got to fight, man. I just got to go out there and be myself and have fun. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And being content with whatever that outcome is before it even happens. I know I'm going to fight. And we'll see. We'll see who's going to get his hand raised, who's the better man that night. I know I put in the work. I believe in my skills, and just got to make the walk.
That is one of the best fighters in the world, Dustin Poirier. Also one of the best humans in the sport, does a lot for charity, a guy really to admire. Dustin, appreciate you, brother. Good luck to you, and see you in Newark.
Thank you, man. See you there.
Thanks.